Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter. Today I'm going to share a couple fun techniques with you. One is how to get a mirror image from any of your stamps. So basically it makes all of your stamps be like twice as many stamps because you get a whole new way to use them. And I'm going to show you how to make kind of a sunset background with your brayer and inks. Let's go to the table and get started. So what I have here is the stamp we're going to use today, which is a silhouette stamp. It works really great with this technique, and this is from our sponsor, artneco.com. There'll be a coupon code in the video description so you can save 10% on your order. Now, what I'm going to use to make everything reverse is a jelly plate. And if you don't have a jelly plate, you could use any stamp that has a large area of just plain rubber, like maybe the back of a clear background stamp, or you can go to the hardware store and get a piece of rubber gasket from the plumbing department. It'll work very well. But the jelly plates work really good for this, and I know a lot of you guys have them on hand. We're going to work on some glossy cardstock, and what I have here is a piece that is, I think it's like 2 3/4 by 8, and I want to show you these two pieces because this one, actually, I could see some marring on the surface. So if I try, I don't know if you can pick that up on camera. I think you can right there. You see right there? I know that if I brayer over this, I'm going to have a splotchy image. So on that same piece of paper, I got a nice smooth image, so I'm going to use this. I'm going to use a rainbow ink pad, and this is by Kaleidocolor. And when you put it away to store, you want to make sure your colors are separate. But if you want to use them with a brayer, you want to push them together, and then you can ink it up just like that. So it's going to take a few times the first time you ink it up because you really want to get some good color on there. Try not to pick it up and move it over while you're doing it. Try to just keep it lined up so that you don't contaminate the adjacent colors. And seriously, it takes a while to get this all inked up. Alright, so now that it looks like this, it looks pretty well inked. I'm going to do about half of my paper, and the way I inked it up, I inked it so it would be yellow in the middle, kind of like a sunset. So what I'm going to do is just roll it across, lift it up, roll it across. Don't go back and forth because you might just end up taking some of the color off again. So just keep going in one direction. And I'm working on glossy cardstock, and glossy cardstock is different than photo paper because you can keep moving that ink around and getting a beautiful blend like I have here. And I also recommend working on a scrap piece of paper so you can start your brayer off and roll it across and not have some weird start-stop lines. So look how smooth that is. Isn't that beautiful? So now what we're going to do is turn the paper around and do it again. So I've got the paper turned around, inking it up again with my brayer. Again, this is a tedious process a little bit, but each time you ink it up it takes less time because you already have some ink on the brayer. Alright, that looks pretty good and inky to me. And I'm going to do the same thing again. If you're going to hold your paper down, try to just get it on the edge where you haven't put the ink so you don't leave fingerprints. Look at that. You see a fingerprint right there. This glossy cardstock is very sensitive to that sort of thing. And I'm not going to worry too much about that seam in the center because it's really not going to be an issue when we're done. Alright, to clean your brayer, all you have to do is wipe it with a baby wipe. Or rinse it under the sink. And use a little soap and water if you need to. I'll clean it in good shape later, but I just wanted to let you know that. So before I go to store that, pop it apart and put it down. And these are by Kaleidocolor. They're very handy to have. I have quite a few of these, and I'm really happy with them. So then what we're going to do is make our mirror stamp. So what we have here is our rubber stamp, and we're just going to kind of let that dry a little bit. And it's kind of glaring. Maybe if I set that like that, it won't glare so much. We can look at that pretty background. So if we did that on photo paper, it would dry almost too quickly, and we probably couldn't get a blend. You could also do that on cardstock. But it does work on glossy paper best because it dries slowly. So what I'm doing is just using some black dye-based ink. This is Memento. You can use any dye-based ink. Pigment ink will probably take a long time to dry and may just kind of slide around on the glossy cardstock. And in fact, it may never dry on the glossy cardstock without heat embossing. So I'd stick with just basic dye black ink if you have it. I'm going to ink that right up. And to make my mirror stamp, I'm going to stamp it on my jelly plate. Just like that. And if I hold a piece of white paper behind it, you'll be able to see that we have that image on there. Whoops, it's kind of glary, but you can kind of see that. And then I'm also going to ink this up again and stamp it on my paper. Okay. And I'm going to go over that, try to get it lined up with that seam. There we go. Then I'll take my mirror image here, and if your jelly print is too big to fit on any of your stamp blocks, using a cutting plate from your die cutting machine works great as a stamp mount. So I'm just going to put that over there, make sure I have plenty of room because this mount is pretty big, and I'm just going to line that up there. And just press it down to stamp it. And there you have a perfect mirror image. Let's just bring that up a little bit closer so you can see it without the glare. Now I'm going to trim this down with the paper trimmer and we're going to build a card. Okay, I trimmed out my image and I also matted it on some black cardstock so that it would show up a little bit better against our pearl paper. This paper is trimmed to make an A10 size card, which will fit in a regular business envelope. And so I just trimmed this to 7.5 by 8.5 and folded it in half so that I'll have a perfect size to fit in just a regular office envelope. And then I'm just going to stick this onto my card, and I'm going to offset it a little bit so I have room to put a sentiment when I'm ready to send it, and I also have a room for a little bit of a ribbon. I'm going to use just my regular adhesive gun for this. This is my ATG gun, and a quick tip on this, I actually buy generic refills for this, and it saves a ton of money. So a little tip for you there. I think I get my refills for about $1.15 a roll, and it's great because I can glue as much as I want to. Since I also do picture framing, it's really handy for that. So now I'm going to set that down on there, and I'm going to add a little bit of ribbon. I thought this was pretty, so I think I'll just wrap this around the card like that, and I think I want to put a little charm, and this charm is also by artneco.com, so I'm just gonna clip my ribbon off and put that charm on there. I've had this ribbon forever. It's nice to finally use something up that you've had for so long. And I am just going to give it a little bow. And this ribbon's nice and stiff, so it's going to lay pretty flat. I might put a glue dot on the back of my little charm there to keep it in place if I feel like it needs it. I don't know, it doesn't seem to want to slide too much, so it might be all right. I just fuss with my ribbon a little bit because it is such a stiff ribbon. I should have been a little more careful when I clipped my ribbon so that I wouldn't have so much waste. I think I'm just going to clip it that way. It feels like a plasticky ribbon, so I think that I don't need to worry about fraying so much. And oops, I kind of creased my card there. So just be careful when you pull your ribbon that you don't pull it so tight that you crease your card. I think it's going to be all right. I think it's going to hide under there nicely though. There we go. And then as I think of what I want to put on there for sentiment, I can either stamp it or I can just write it on there at the bottom of the card because I have plenty of room. I hope you enjoyed this fun tutorial today and you give it a try yourself. Working with glossy cardstock is a lot of fun, and it's a little different than photo paper because it blends and dries slowly, and it's a lot easier to get some of the artistic effects that you're looking for. I want to thank you so much for watching. Please check out our sponsor, artneco.com, and use the coupon code thefrugalcrafter to save 10% on your order. All you gotta do is mention me in the comments when you place your order and they will refund your discount. Or you can get free shipping if your order's over $50. Either way, you win at artneco.com. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, happy crafting.